Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox, at the start of a brand new week. And a busy week it is. I've already got a load of stories I want to do. And of course, we've got Nippy going into the box at the inquiry on Wednesday. And you won't want to miss that. So do hit the subscribe button because it will be a fun week. Now, I did a couple of flash videos yesterday that we will do. We will touch this morning. We'll get those videos out and do the full story on them. However, I thought we'll start the week with something lighter, fluffier, not so important, but nonetheless a little bit, puerile possibly. But we'll have a look because there is this story and there's a little bit of a mystery because there is an SNP MP who's now house hunting after leaving his wife, wants to set up a little love nest in London. And as I say, he's out there looking for property. Now, the mainstream press are not naming him. However, Joanna Cherry has dropped a few little clues. And if you follow the breadcrumbs, you'll realise exactly who it is. And yes, I will name him. And so we will have a look at this. So we'll go in, we'll see who the SNP MP who's left his wife and is setting up a new little love nest in London is. And honestly, the idea is like boking. It'll give you a boke. Here it goes. Now, we'll just have a look at the headline. Joanna Cherry chips in about the SNP MP who was split from his wife and is house hunting in London. Now, there's only so many MPs. It's obviously now male. Who is it? Who could it possibly be? Who do you know who's an SNP MP and has recently had marital problems and is able to afford to buy a house in London? There's not many. The Nationalist MP, this is Joanna Cherry, made a cheeky comment about her love-struck colleague, declaring that most of us couldn't dream of being able to afford to buy a property in the UK capital. But this one can, of course, because he's rather wealthy and he's done very well for himself. A Nationalist MP has split from his wife and has rekindled a relationship with his childhood sweetheart, according to reports in a Sunday newspaper. The SNP politician is said to have attended a House of Commons hogmanay party with his old flame and introduced her to MPs and colleagues as my new girlfriend, and the MP is believed to be looking for a property to buy in London. And nobody is mentioning who it is, but I think it is absolutely obvious who it is, who has recently had, according to rumour, had marital problems, been with his secretary, undoubtedly who this woman is, and has been seen, flouncing around Westminster, all loved up. And that's a very hard thing for a man of his calibre to do. And by calibre, I mean literally his calibre. You're going to need a very wide cannon if you were to fire him from it. He's a very rotund man. And it's amazing how he can afford to buy a property. What with him, being so humble. Although he cannot be named due to public interest and privacy rules. And indeed, there is no suggestion of any sleaze or scandal, apart from the fact that he made a public promise to his wife to love, honour and obey for the remainder of their lives until death us do part and all that. And so he's broken that. And so his word is nothing. But his word wasn't much to begin with. The Mail on Sunday has sparked some lively comment on social media. Who can it possibly be? Who do you know is male, Scottish, SNP, recent marital problems, and can afford to buy a house in Scotland? Have you guessed who it is yet, kids? Of course you have. I'm sure you have. The nationalist blogger Wings Over Scotland posted, "What could be more of a giveaway than an SNP looking to buy a house in London," he says. And Edinburgh South West MP Joanna Cherry replied, "Most of us couldn't even dream of being able to afford to do so. So that narrows the field." Well, of course, he wants to buy something that's close to Parliament, doesn't he? And that's very expensive. But he doesn't want to have a big long walk to the House of, I was going to say Lords. But of course, they don't do the Lords, do they? House of Commons, for now. One source who was at the Commons Terrace said he was seen chatting to a number of people, and I heard him introduce her as his new partner. They both seemed very happy and were having a good time. Of course they were. The newspaper said the MP, well, he was having a good time. He's got a new squeeze. You wonder about her. Was she having a good time? I mean, you have to ask, what does she find attractive about this multi-millionaire MP? The newspaper said that the MP has left the marital home in Scotland, although it's not known if divorce proceedings have started. One suspects that will be dragged out as much as possible, because that will cost him a lot of money, which is why certain people in the party are looking for maybe a nice little sinecure, a nice little stipend of sitting in the House of Lords on £100,000 a year. Another Commons insider said they were walking around quite openly and looked as though they didn't have a care in the world, and it certainly didn't look as if they were trying to keep their relationship secret in any way. He will hardly be the first MP to fall victim of the Westminster curse, where long hours, a heavy drinking culture, and taxpayer-funded flats and hotels encourage illicit relationships. Well, there's a lot of it about, isn't there? In 2016, an SNP love triangle hit the headlines when veteran MPs Angus MacNeil and Stuart Hosey both cheated on their wives with the journalist Serena Cowdy. Mr Hosey split with his spouse, Shona Robertson, and is now married to Miss Cowdy. It's all the thing. They won't take each other's names. Isn't that very weird when they get a relationship? They don't like taking each other's names, but they're quite free to pass themselves around. And so certainly Shona Robertson's been around a few blocks. And so has Miss Cowdy. Sort of whole to the stars, as it were. She's been passed around a bit as well. At the end of last year, the Express revealed that 2 SNP politicians were caught having a torrid affair during lockdown, breaking the rules, after intimate text messages were uncovered on a mobile phone belonging to, we believe, and not proven, however, the belief is that it was Humza Yousaf and Alam Kazir. And that's fine, as long as both their partners are aware and that they're both happy that these two will be, shagging each other. So who is this humble crofter, this 62-year-old man, this rotund lover who has left his wife and has moved in with a childhood sweetheart? Well, of course, we all know who exactly it is. How many humble 62-year-old rotund crofters can there be in the House of Commons? Found new love that isn't in the form of a Greggs sausage roll. But God almighty, can you imagine the awfulness of those two? Hot, passionate lovemaking. Oh, I love you, I love you, I love you. Oh, she'd have to get on top. She would absolutely have to get on top and roll out the barrel. It does. It gives you the boke, doesn't it? It gives you the boke. I'm coming up. I know it's early, and I don't really want to do it to you, but I want to put an image in your mind. Him laying naked on his back, heaving up his belly so she can find it. Her having to clamber on, have a little pootle around, stuff it in, have a little grind on him. Him, done. Then he turns, I love you, and then puts a sausage roll in his mouth. No, it puts you off your breakfast, doesn't it? What on earth does anyone see in him? He's got to be charming. He's got to be able to charm the birds off the trees. But he never comes across like that, does he? God. What is it with the SNP? And also, 2 things. Why do they keep having to shag everyone's wives? Secondly, why does nobody ever take their other person's name? Even Humza Yousaf's wife won't take his name. Shona Robertson didn't take the name. None of them take the name. I can imagine. I know why Yvette Cooper didn't take Ed Ball's name. She'd be Y Balls. And after all, why not? Anyway, I shall round off. Thank you very much for watching this puerile, silly first story of the week. But we will get on to the serious stuff next. And we're going to be looking at some great stories all day. Anyway, thanks very much. Till next time, stay safe, stay well,